Today it's a great pleasure to welcome Loui Williams to Altrincham Football Club. Loui is one of the academy graduates from the end of last season, and Loui, it's a real honour to graduate from the Altrincham Football Club academy and be selected as a member of the first team for the coming season.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great opportunity for me, and I hope to work hard throughout the season.
And tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from and where you grew up and how you got involved with the football club.
So I've played Sunday League football all my life, never been anywhere special. And towards my last year of school, I met Matty Costello, first teamer at Altrincham at the time, still is. He was knocking on doors, handing out cards for his personal training one-to-one business. He met my dad, and my dad wanted me to go down and have a few sessions with him, and so I did. And it went quite well. I liked him, and he obviously knew what he was talking about. And towards about Christmas time, he told me about the academy trials they have, because I didn't know what I was going to do, whether I was going to stay on or go to sixth form, but I knew I wanted to play football. So I just went to them. They were the only trials I went to. It was a game at BTH, a school near here, and I did quite well. I played left wing, and one of the academy graduates played right back, Tom Jones, and I did quite well. Got invited back for a second match and got offered a place. But yeah, since then I've been at the academy. I've improved a lot, and I managed to get the opportunity to graduate from it.
So you joined the academy. How did it go in year one?
I struggled a bit, actually, because it's my first time in full-time football. I'd been at my old school for actually 11 years, so I was struggling, to meet new people and get along. But I had one game where I thought I played to the standard I could do, and then I started to get along with the lads a lot better, and the coaches helped me, like Paul Fay, Ross later in the season. They helped me develop, and even though I spent a lot of time on the bench in the first year, it still helped me, playing under Saws and the gaffer when he was there, still helped me develop. And it was just about, keeping my head high and waiting for my opportunity in the second year, and it did come, and I took it.
And what changed in the second year?
I put a lot of work in over the summer. So we had the Foyle Cup over in Ireland with Paul, Tuckers and Sarah, and we did quite well. We had 6 weeks preparing for it, so we didn't really have time off, which I was grateful for, because it helped me improve. We got there, we won our first game about 7-0. We were flying. We managed to get all the way to the final, playing really well, but we just got beat by Motherwell 3-0, who, a top academy in Scotland. And then we came back, and I had a few off the bench appearances for the reserves, and I just carried on taking my momentum and, kept my confidence and did what I knew I was good at, and it just all started to click, and just carried on working hard, and I got the opportunities.
So you mentioned the Foyle Cup, which is a competition that we compete in pretty well every year and have done for the last 8, 9, 10 years or so. It's played in Derry in Northern Ireland, and to go over there for a sustained period of time for a 16, 17-year-old is fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. It was not just the football, it was great to be with the lads, because there was youth team players there, because obviously you see the academy players every day. There was youth team players there who didn't really know all that much, but now they're good friends, from just spending the week with them. The football aspect was it good. Sarah and Paul and all the other coaches there made sure, the social side, going out to eat and spending time with each other as a squad, that really helped us play. And then even we had the under 12 team there who were competing in the Foyle Cup, so we all had to look after one of them, and there's some very good players in that, and it was just nice to see how they play and how they learn from us, because I feel like they looked up to a lot of us.
That's a really good lead into year 2 at the academy. Good experience in Northern Ireland, and you start year 2. And of course, year 2 for you was our first season for the academy in the National League Under-19 North Division.
Yeah.
Previously, we'd been in Division H in a North West and North Wales division, which is a stronger league. Clearly, what was how much of a difference was there between the two standards?
Yeah, there was a big difference in the competition from the first year to second year, which I'm grateful for, because in the first year we won the league and I was happy with that, and we won it quite easily. You know, we did well. We had some tough games, but the quality we had in the squad was a lot better than other teams. You know, like Ryan Morton, Amar Hussain, Harlan Rogers. You know, we just stood out a lot in that league. So for us to develop, it would only make sense to move up to a harder league and play harder teams. And in that league, there was actually all under-19s teams, so we weren't only playing against people our age, we were playing against like under-19s players. So we had first years in our squad, and they'd have, so who would be 16, and then they'd have 19-year-olds. You know, it's a 3-year age gap, but it was great to play harder competition, and victory felt a lot more satisfying, having earned it a lot more. Like we talked about the Solihull win, that was our first win of the season. We struggled for the first 3 games and then went away to Solihull, you know, a long journey. We managed to beat them 3-0, and it was just a great feat. And then we played teams like Blythe Spartans, who were a very good team, one of the best teams I've played at like youth team level. And it just gives you experience on playing against different systems and better players. It prepares you for, you know, men's football.
Yeah, that was a real eye-catching result at Solihull, 3-0. First, an historic result as well, because it was the first victory in the Northern Division, and you scored one of the 3 goals.
Yeah, I scored the first out of the 3. Keeper passed it right to me, intercepted it from his defender and just put it past him. But it's just a good day out, really. And
you also scored against Solihull in the penultimate game of the season. I saw part of that game. You got an equaliser. We were 2-0 down. Tom, you got the first goal, and then Tom Jones got the equaliser. And then, unfortunately, we conceded what was a very dubious penalty, and you were the man involved.
I was the guy who gave the penalty away. I'd come off the bench in the 55th minute. We were 2-0 down. I got a goal about 2 minutes on the pitch. I think it was my first touch. We were doing a high press. Tom got the ball, great finish. And then about 5 minutes later, they had a corner, came out to the edge of the box, man I was marking. He took a heavy touch, he's going to get nowhere near. And he just jumped forward and gone down the rest, give it. And unfortunately, he scored from it and won the game. But our managers never punish us for losses if we play well and we do the right things, which we did that day, especially in the second half. So they weren't too bothered about it. They're only bothered if we get beat, and you know, or even if we win and we don't show the quality we're capable of, or we do it in the wrong way.
Well, certainly the second half, which I saw, it was an excellent performance against a very good Solihull team, some of whom had first team experience in the National League for Solihull, and it was an important game for them as well, because they still had a chance of winning the league, although ultimately it was Blythe Spartans who were champions. And you mentioned about the third years, the 19-year-olds. Blythe were full of them.
Yeah. At the start of the season, it looked a bit like men versus boys. You know, I'm not going to lie, the start of the season, when we played them in our second game, it was probably the worst. Not the worst, but like the biggest outclassing we had that season. They were popping it around us, you know, and they just looked like physically bigger, faster, better on the ball. But I'm grateful for that, because the whole team learned, and it was like a humbling experience, because we didn't go into any game taking it for granted or go into any game expecting to win. We knew every game was going to be a competition, and I think the game after Blythe is when we got our first win away to Solihull, because we expected a challenge and we rose to it.
And at what stage did you become aware that you had a chance of being invited into the first team squad for the 23-24 season?
So around Christmas time, I managed to get the opportunity to train with the team at Carrington, and then once again in Easter, I managed to go in and train with the first team, which was a good experience. You know, they had like players there who've left. I played with Con Clark while he was on loan, and Maxi Oyedele was there, who was a great player. And it kind of gives you the hint that, you know, you're getting noticed, which is always nice, and you're getting recognised for playing well. And it's just feedback from your coaches, really. You know, if I'm doing it right, I won't really hear much, but if I'm doing wrong, I'm always let know how to fix it and in the right way. And I was just getting good feedback from all the coaches and, you know, Matty, as I said. And I just feel like the opportunities kept coming for me and I kept taking them.
And it's the first week of the new pre-season, so you've had a couple of training sessions with your new playing colleagues. How have they gone?
They've gone good. We've had two. So on the Monday it was a fitness testing and a ball session, which was really good. It was nice to meet a lot of the players. I knew some of them. Obviously, a few of my academy players were in there with me, and then I knew Matty, but it's good to meet all of them and see the quality on display, which is a high level. And then the fitness testing, obviously hard, but has to be done to make sure we're all right for the season. And then yesterday, where we had a few passing drills and a few small-sided games, which opened up a bit. And it's just good to see, you know, the new signings we bring in. Definitely a lot of quality there, and just veteran players, you know, Isaac Marriott, they show quality which you can learn from and hope to adapt to the environment as you play there longer. But it's tiring as well, you know, it's hard on the legs, so I'm glad to have a rest day today.
And Matty Costello is almost turning into a bit of a father figure for you, because he'll be bringing you into games because you live very close to each other.
Yeah, I'm a bit taller than him for him to be my father, but yeah, he's great. He teaches me a lot, obviously, because he's had this long-term injury for the past 9 months. I've never really seen him play in training. I got the chance to see that yesterday, and he's a great player. You know, he's one of the best players there, in my opinion. And it's just good to know that what he's teaching me is right and how he's helping me. So, like, for example, I woke up this morning and he texted me a few things about yesterday, what I did well, what I could do better, and it's just nice to know and nice to have like someone backing you and telling you what you can improve on. I just want to see him play now, because I haven't seen much of him play in the National League.
How much National League football have you seen?
So I volunteered at in total about 15 games over the 2 years, you know, doing like programs and thingy, and I've watched a few good ones. Favourite one, I thought I had a curse on me at first, because I came to about 5 and we'd lost all of them, and this wasn't even in like bad runs of form. I'd come when we were winning and we'd lose, so I stopped coming for the sake of the team. But my favourite one was Oldham. That was my first win, and I really wanted to beat Oldham because I went to school in Oldham. There's a few lads in my year who supported them, and I just thought it'd be really funny if we beat them, so I could message them after the game. And that was when Chris Con Clark scored that really good goal, and the whole team played quite well. But there's been a few games I've watched, and then there's been really good performances, and then obviously performances where it's a bit devastating, like the Cheshire Senior Cup final. I was here for that, you know, Congleton. But yeah.
And you mentioned the Oldham game. Funnily enough, that was one of the goals that Chris Con Clark picked out as one of his favourite goals. A wonderful strike, and there was the best part of 4,000 here that night. And for a night game with the floodlights on, the atmosphere was fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. I think the atmosphere when we're up for it can be great, you know, with the Alty fans, and it's a community, the club. Like, we had Sam speaking to us yesterday, you know, on the board of directors. She was telling us there's over 1,000 youth team players throughout the system, and, you know, we've got ties in the community, and we're a big part of Altrincham. And she said Altringham's our town and we're their football club, so we have to play for the fans, and the fans come to help us play.
What are your sort of expectations for the season? Because clearly there's a big step up from National League Under-19 Alliance to the National League itself. That's a big step to take in one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna set too high expectations and be disappointed, but I'm not gonna underestimate myself. I'm gonna have a bit of confidence. My aim is to go out on loan to a lower league club, play men's football, and impress the gaffer and play how I know I can play. But and hope to get kept on for a few more years, and work my way up into the squad and the starting 11 eventually, hopefully. But for the team, with the players I've seen and the signings they brought in, I don't see why they can't challenge at the very top, playoffs or... Yeah, playoffs. I reckon I can see them getting into the playoffs this year.
Okay, Loui Williams, congratulations on graduating from the Altrincham Football Club Academy and for being selected for the first team squad. You'll have a squad number and the name on your back, on the back of your shirt for this season, which is brilliant, and all the very best for this coming season.
Thank you.